Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for semi-final action here from the preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. I will get that rolled off the tongue properly by the end of this tournament, I hope. But welcome back to the semi-final. What we're going to do, because of time constraints of the venue, we've just posted it up on the Twitch chat. We're going to start the semi-final one now.
Yep.
The 1-8 and the 4-5 games.
Yep.
We have the 1 and the 4 both made it. So Yuri will again be on the play. Yuri versus Vidal. Green-red landfall versus Abzan-Aggro. Abzan-Aggro has already taken down green-red landfall in or the Ataka red deck. I'm not sure which one it was exactly in the previous round, so it'll be very interesting to see if Yuri can manage to beat Victor on that one. But the one quarterfinal is still ongoing, so we'll bring you live coverage of that as soon as that's finished and this match is finished as well. We're going to send it straight down to the feature match area, and we'll give the players the go, and we'll be on to the semi-final. Victor Vidal on your right on Abzan-Aggro, Yuri Stroilov on your left on green-red landfall, and it looks like Victor took a mulligan. We can see the Warden in the first row in hand, and we see a turn 1 side leopard for Yuri to start things off. A Warden on the other side of the table, and we can see a Monastery Swift Spear here as well. So we see a 3-3 side leopard with the fetch land. Yuri probably can fetch up a mountain, able to play the Swift Spear straight away as well.
Yeah, probably attacking in here for big attack for 4 here. Oh, only 3.
So he might be following up with the Gnarlid.
Yeah,
or a bigger threat that he can start to put the pressure of the landfall onto his opponent, and Victor down all the way to 16 already with the fetch land of his own. Wooded Foothills, a very powerful card in the landfall deck. We can see a Windswept Heath in hand already.
Wow.
The main benefit, obviously, Wooded Foothills is it fetches red and green, which means you can do it. And we can see at least one more land. We see Abbot of Carroll Keep, and we see a Windswept Heath in hand as well. So we're going to see a fetch land for Victor. And we'll see how he wants to proceed from there, whether he wants to put a threat into play or whether he just cracks and makes his Warden into a 3-3. Or if he has a Drummer Command, obviously able to kill the Scyther Leopard. We'll have to see from there. This would be a position where Drummer Command would actually be not terrible, because you're able to get rid of one of the threats, make your guy slightly bigger, and then be able to trade further down the line. As 2 mana to activate the Warden isn't too hard to achieve later on, but we shall see where Victor goes with this one. The fetch land means that Scyther Leopard will be able to trade, while the Snapping Nada deals another 4 points of damage. But we shall see. So Victor's gonna pass the turn. We're gonna draw for the turn. Find another land. So Yuri is probably gonna lead off with the Abbot of Carroll Keep.
Yep, see what's on top.
And we see Anafender in hand, Abzan Charm as well. In response, he's gonna make his Warden a 3-3. Reveal the top card to be a Become Immense. Not quite the one that he was looking to see.
Not really what he wanted, no. So
while we play a fetch land here, we see the Yuri places fetch land down to 17, but his life total a little bit less relevant than Victor's. And we could see the trade here, a 3-3 for a 3-3, unless Yuri has something to do first before blocks.
yeah, I think if I'm Victor here, I'm more than happy to take this block, because this trade, sorry, because Anafense is coming down next turn. So you know you've got a 4-4 next turn. There's it requires Yuri to have another fetch land for it to trade again. But even then, you're still not too worried. You know, Yuri's running out of cards, and Victor has cards still.
And this is one of the powerful things with the green-white X decks, whether you're on Bant, green-white, or Abzan, is that you play some very, very efficient threats. 3 mana 4/4s, 3 mana 3/3 Death Touchers, 1 mana 1/1s that turn into 3/3.
Exactly,
so very, very efficient use of your mana. Able to start to pull ahead. And we're going to see the very quick block there and the trade. Victor down to 11, taking 4 from the Snapping Gnarly. And we're going to see a follow-up Monastery Swift Spear as well. Yuri making good use of his mana here. We see a Canopy Vista drawn there. Wooded for this Smoldering Marsh ready as well. And it'd be interesting to see if Victor tries and holds up the Abzan Charm or just lands the Anafenza instead.
I think you just play the Anafenza here.
He's doing a bit of maths, working things out. What can he do? It's an interesting decision to make.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. So there we see the Anafenza. I think, you know, you have to respect the combo, but at the same time, you need to, you know, you're hemorrhaging a lot of damage right now, and you can't play around the combo to the point where your opponent just kills you. So, you know, you have to be incredibly careful.
We see another fetch land there from Yuri. Makes a snap and Nala to 4/4, and able to attack him with the Swift Spear and the Abbot as well.
Well, it's a 3/3.
But it can become a 4/4.
It can become a 4/4. And I think you have to just have to actually just block the Snapping Knowledge here. Interesting. He's decided to block the Abbot, so probably be taking 5 here, going down to 6.
So interesting choice of blocks there. I suppose he
Yep.
still has the Abzan Charm, although Abzan Charm is starting to, his life expectancy is starting to decrease. But taking out the Abbot here feels like not a terrible place. Get rid of that one. That is in exile, not in the graveyard. I'll have to see if they remember that one. Obviously, Yuri
think
can't
we
then
might
use
have
that
to
as become immense. Do you want
Go remind
to?
them. Oh,
There we go. They remembered. Anna Fenza does have the very important rules text that it does exile something. So, Canopy Vista. If you have a Siege Runner here, it could be really good position as well. Or Hangerback for 2. Could be very good here as well. Hangerback Walker, not always its best, but he's just going to pass the turn back. Hold up the Abzan Charm. See if Yuri goes for anything. We see another Monastery Swift Spear. An attack for 2, put Victor down to 4. I think Yuri just has to start expending his creatures to do something.
Yep.
So we're going to see a Monastery Swift Spear. And he's just going to pass the turn. Ooh.
I like this from Yuri. Now, he's not in that much of a rush, and by not attacking, he's basically saying, okay, I'm going to make you do the work. And, you know, Victor basically did nothing on his turn. So, yeah, very, very good play from Yuri there.
So now Victor has to decide, does he want to say go again? No, he's going to go down to 5. Starting to do a bit more work for Yuri.
Yeah.
Fetch lands do cause a lot of damage to the player when they're in this format at the moment. And life totals in some matchups are really, really important. When decks are playing upwards to 12 to 14 fetch lands, it's a lot of damage you can take.
Yeah.
So, Hangerback Walker for 1. Very carefully leaving up
Dromoka's Command.
Abzan
Abzan
Charm.
Abzan
Doesn't
Charm.
want to just die out of nowhere. We see Atarka's Command. Ooh, does that do anything? That's just lethal.
It depends how Victor blocks.
But you play the land. No, you can't play the land because you can't make the Nala a 4/4. You have to leave it as a 3/3. You
No,
almost
it
have
doesn't
to.
matter because Abzan Charm.
Sometimes 3 or
cancels
more,
it.
so you can't do that. So you might just have to. Sorry, my apologies. It does do 3 or more. So you might just have to put yourself in a position where you say go, and then Atarka's Command in response to a Siege Rhino, which would also be very good. Put your opponent down to 2, leave you with some really live outs at the moment, and just make Victor not use his mana again.
Yeah.
But Yuri knows decided to go for that, which now turns on the Abzan Charm. It's very interesting play there, because that's now a 3/3, so Victor can make the most of that Abzan Charm that he has been showing for quite a few turns now.
Yep.
Let's see where we go from there. So, no, Victor's not going to take the opportunity to use the Abzan Charm. He's going on top, and another Anna Fenza off the top. That's now all 3 of... Well, we're not sure exactly how many he's running, but that is multiple Anna Fenzas. That's not a good position to be in.
Not at all, no.
He's just going to pass the turn back again. Draw for the turn. We see a Den Protector.
Wow.
Now, how does that change it all? Ooh. That's very interesting. Plays a Morph, Atarka's Command, untap, flip Atarka's Command.
Yep.
Only gets blown up by Dromoka's Command, and I think by now that we might have seen the Dromoka's Command being used.
Not necessarily. Obviously, Victor might be holding it up in so he can use it in response to something like an Abzan, an Atarka's Command. So interesting.
Oh, he's just going to pass the turn again. But I suppose if he hits another land drop, he can do Atarka's Command in the end step, and then Den Protector Atarka's Command. So we see a Forest off the top there for Victor. Still not taking the opportunity to use Abzan Charm, just doesn't want to get blown up by the combo. We see another Forest enter the battlefield. We see a Morph from Victor. Now, if Yuri draws a land, he has the ability to play them. Oh, so
Titan Strength.
it's interesting. Yuri doesn't want to use this Atarka's Command.
No, I don't know why he's not just going for it.
Because that Den Protector, mind you, the Den Protector's not really able to get back anything.
Very true.
And Victor still can't attack. He's still in a position where he can't actually attack because he's only at 5. And having the Atarka's Command also does give you a bit of reach against any Siege Rhino opponents play. But we're going to see Victor play the Den Protector.
Yuri.
So Yuri play the Den Protector. Victor a little bit contain what he can do. He's having to almost waste mana every turn because he can't use it because he's not able to use any of his pieces. So he's going to tap a mana, make his Kanga back into a 3/3, untap again. But I don't think Yuri's on that plan anymore.
So really interesting here. Victor is playing like he has a Dromoka's Command in hand. He could have flipped up the Den Protector there and decided not to. So he's basically telling Yuri, I have a Dromoka's Command. So very interesting.
But with the Titan strength now in Yuri's hand, he can test the water a little bit with this Ataka's command. Untap, upkeep, untap, Dramo's command. Sorry, untap Ataka's command. Use some mana, see what you've got, and proceed accordingly from there. You have the Den Protector now in play, which means that you can use mana, and Victor's just count up how many lands he has in play. So, upkeep, we're going to Titan strength my Morph. Ooh, that could be very interesting there. We're going to get the Scry. So it's going to resolve and Scry 1. So it looks like there's a land going to the bottom of Yuri's deck there. Draw. What has he found? He's found, looks maybe Team of Battle Rage. But, yep, seems to have found the Team of Battle Rage, but I think he wants to be on the Ataka's command plan at the moment. Let's see if he goes for it. But he's tapped too much mana now. He's going to unmorph Den Protector.
Yep, so now this has 6 power. So right now nothing can block it.
And now see what Yuri decides to get back. He's going to get back his Titan strength. But he's starting to lose his ability to use that Ataka's command, and obviously Victor's repping of his Dramo's command doing wonders for him in this game, able to keep showing Yuri, I have Dramo's command, I have Dramo's command, you can't do anything with Ataka's command, when in fact we know he doesn't. He's just 2 Anafenzas and not a lot else. But we're going to see in with the team, and Ataka's command will not be too bad in this situation actually. He has the Titan strength there as well, able to start trading off the board. Ataka's command obviously dealing 3, and we'll go from there. But we also can see if Victor, Victor could just be dead to the Become Immense. Sorry, not Become Immense, to Titan strength Team of Battle Rage, depending on how he blocks. So we see 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. Now if Victor makes a move, Yuri could just go for it. Well, he has to Abzan Charm now. Let's get that out of your hand. And Yuri could have played himself very cleverly into a win when he was starting to get the board clogged down with his opponent. So Yuri's like, okay, right. Because both those Swift Spears have had their prowesses triggered. So that Den Protector's gone. Now does Yuri go for it? I think he has to go for it. I think he's in an unfortunate position. He can't afford to not go for the combo kill. So we're going to see Titan Strength targeting probably the Gnarlid. So Yuri looking at his hand. We're going to Titan Strength Monastery Swift Spear, trigger prowess, the one that's been blocked by Anafenza. Oh, Victor can't do a lot about that at the moment. Tap 2 mana. Does he go for the kill? I think he almost has to at this position. Has Team of Battle Rage in hand. 2 cards in Victor's hand. Does Yuri pull the trigger? I think sitting here in the commentary booth, we know we have more information than players, but we almost feel that he has to go for it. He's just going to lose so many things in this combat if he doesn't go for it. They're just having a quick chat about something, and we just sent Shay to find out what was happening. Okay, so we were just checking to see that we can't be seen. Obviously, as players start to leave the venue, we become a lot louder or easier. Can they hear us at the moment? That's alright. Okay, so they're going to do some combat maths here. Now, the question is, does Yuri just go for it? I think he has to. He's already Titan Strength. I think he just has to say, oh, let's just go all in. I'm not beating you anyway. We're going to see the activation of that, tapping more mana down. Now does Yuri go for it? He's
still got 3 mana open.
I think if there was another Abzan Charm in hand, we would have seen it used already.
No, because he's happy to trade this off.
Not to make that many 1/1s.
Yeah, I think you're happy making a load of 1/1s.
I think we might see Yuri go for it. I think Yuri's in a position where he has to actually go for this. But we shall see if Yuri makes the same call. It's lethal if he goes for it.
Sure, but he doesn't know that.
And he's Umananara and he really doesn't know. He's going to tap 2 mana.
How big is that? Huge.
It was... That's now 8.
An 8 power.
Yeah, which isn't lethal. So we're going to see Den Protector flip face up. Get back that Abzan Charm. Get a counter on there. We'll see where we go from. But it means that Yuri's putting enough damage over that the Ataka's command could be lethal next turn, unless of course his opponent draws a Siege Rhino. We see the Anafenza being actually killed by the Monastery Swift Spear. Oh, Yuri did not want to go for it there. He goes down to 1 because the Swift Spear was only 4 power.
Oh, he battle raged.
He battle raged the one being blocked by the Hangerback Walker, and we see the follow-up Anafenza.
But unfortunately,
No, yeah, that one didn't die. That was bigger than the Hangerback Walker.
yeah, it had first strike,
It was also a 4/5.
and it was a 4/5.
So we see Anafenza the follow-up. See what we know Yuri has the Atarka's Command in hand, and Victor is at 1 life with Abzan Charm in hand, which Yuri knows about. And I think Yuri might have thought actually be able to realise what possibly the other card is in his hand, and it might actually just be Anafenza the Foremost.
Yep.
We'll have to see. So they pass back the turn, or does Victor want to attack with something? He's got enough blockers; he can probably afford to do some damage. So he's going to send in 2 Thopters, 2 damage to Yuri. Untap. Or do we draw? Abbot of Kerrol Keep. Well, you get a free spin with that one. Play the Abbot. See what we draw. Reveal a mountain. Well, it's not doing an awful lot at this time, but I think Yuri just might fire off the Atarka's Command. Deal you 3. And obviously Victor's shaking his head. Not quite his day today. So Yuri picks up the first game, 1-0. So on to the sideboard. Now I believe we had the deck list handed to us earlier, but they seem to have gone and walked off, probably back to the judges' station. But we know what Yuri is. Yuri has 3 Arc Lightning, 3 Outpost Siege, 2 Wild Slash, 2 Roast, 3 Rending Volley, a Sarkhan Dragon Speaker, and Yusova Dragon Claw. I believe we'll probably see the Sarkhan coming in, the 2 Roasts coming in. Obviously against Abzan you want removal spells to be able to deal with all their threats, and then possibly the Outpost Siege if he wants the game to go long and just try and bury Victor under the card advantage. We saw Yuri, we saw a green-red deck against Jeskai earlier bring in the Outpost Siege. It's possible that Yuri wants to bring it in here against Victor as well. On the other side, well, we're just getting the deck list for Victor. So once we have found that, we'll be able to bring you exactly what we'll possibly be boarding in. So it seems from the other side of the bracket that Dominic was able to defeat his opponent. And he will be in a semi-final match against Quo, who managed to defeat Simeon. That's on the other match. So players just shuffling up, sideboarding. We've now got the access to the sideboard for Victor at the moment. We have a sideboard of 2 Duress, 2 Self-Inflicted Wounds, 3 Silk Wrap, a Solemn Visitor, 2 Tasiga, 2 Transgress the Mind, 2 Ultimate Prize, and 1 Wingmate Rock. Now the ones that stand out, the 2 Duress, the 2 Duress, the 2 Ultimate Price are definitely the ones that stand out, and the 3 Silk Wraps as well. 3 Silk Wraps being a very powerful card in this matchup, able to deal with all the threats being put out by Yuri for a very cheap cost of 2 mana, and very powerful. So we believe we've seen what the players are bringing in. Now we just have to see if they come in. So players are shuffling up. Quick check of how many cards are in the deck. Yuri taking game number 1 on the back of a very interesting played game is how I would describe that one. And we'll soon be on to game number 2. So players quickly shuffle up. We'll be on to game number 2. Players having a bit of a joke around behind as we can start to hear them now. There's less volume in the background. Most players have gone home. We'll just have our top 8 left here.
Yep.
To accompany ourselves, the TO and the judges while they finish off this top 8. It's getting a bit of a ghost town out there compared to how it was earlier with the 80 odd players who started this tournament.
Yeah.
Now just down to 8. Down to 4 now. And soon we'll be down to 3 and 2.
One of the people who top 8'd, sorry, Dominic, Harvey is one of the winners of a Pro Tour invite yesterday.
Yep, with his Amulet Bloom deck, which we had the joy of commentating.
We did.
In his final match there against his opponent on
Twin.
who was on Blue-Red Twin. An unfortunate mulligan to 4 and almost got there.
Yeah.
A few turns here or there with a land drop here and a Blood Moon there, and maybe we would have seen Harry Garbutt going to the Pro Tour rather than Dominic. But Dominic played well, and now we're into the preliminary Pro Tour qualifier standard final stages of this tournament today. It was 7 rounds of standard. There were 80 plus players, which is a lot of players for a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. Normally you're looking at numbers of 40 or 50. maybe 6 rounds, but certainly not 7. It's been a long weekend, and we're off to the races. Turn 1 Warden for Victor. We shall see a turn 1, probably a Zergo Bell Striker for Yuri. So we're going to see the cracking of the fetch land. And the benefit Victor has this turn is his Warden can now be a 3-3 before Yuri's really able to get started. We see, instead of the Zergo, we see Monstrous Swiss Bear in for 1 off the back of a Bloodstained Mire.
And there we see in Victor's hand some Siege Rhinos this game.
Well, certainly something he was certainly missing from the last game. Now we just need to hope he has enough lands to cast them, as we see him cracking his Windswept Heath. Gonna pick up one of his planes, pump the Warden to a 3-3 and probably say go again. Doesn't want to start attacking yet. Is it the Yuri's deck only needs to get into a certain life total before he can just kill him out of nowhere, and maybe Victor does want to attack. He knows he's building towards a Siege Rhino, but he may want to just say back and say, I'm just going to make it a 3-3 and it will be your go, Yuri. But he's going to attack for 3. Going to start the beatdown. Yuri down to 16. Wants to get this game over and done with before Yuri can assemble too much of his own board. We see Become Immense already in Yuri's hand. So, untap, draw for Yuri. See a Titan Strength to draw for Yuri that's could be used now. See a Forest in hand. Could see a dashing of Zergo here as well. So we're going to dash in a Zergo. Going to attack for 3. Going to try and match you pound for pound with your cards. And put that Zergo back in our hand and pass the turn back to Victor. 15 plays 16. We see Silk Wrap the draw there. That's a huge draw. Able to do something with his mana while setting up for Siege Rhino next turn. You see Silk Wrap take care of this, and this is why Silk Wrap is so good against the deck. And obviously we see no Silk Wraps in the main for Victor, but 3 in the sideboard. And this is the sort of matchup that is for. Able to deal with Swift Spear and any of the threats, and it just means that you can take him off of his cards. So Windswept Heath the draw. We see double Titan Strength Become Immense already in Yuri's hand. We're going to see the Zergo as the follow-up. You see Atarka's Command as well. Now that could be very interesting. Yuri able to negate the effect of the life gain, but he's going to dash in the Zergo again. Obviously not playing around the risk of a Siege Rhino follow-up.
No, he's playing the Zergo, and he's just going to Titan Strength it.
Yeah, deal 5 damage. Try and keep his Zergo off the table means it can't get Silk Wrapped.
Yeah, we have Victor as low as possible. So that he can just try and get some sort of dash creature into a lot of damage.
Victor obviously tapped out, which means Yuri's at a bit of free reign as what to do, but he's about to go down to 6 life with this Siege Rhino, and well, Victor's going to be back to 13. We're going to see Titan Strength. Let's have a look at what the top card of your deck brings, Yuri. That's a Team of Battle Rage by the looks of it. Which maybe... Yep, you do have to attack with that one as well. He seems to have a Forest in hand as well. If he keeps that... That's interesting.
Did he keep a Battle Rage?
He might have kept that Battle Rage, and with that Forest in hand...
No, because he needs to dash the Zergo still.
He does need that. Unfortunately, that Zergo going to be being put back in his hand and slightly being punished for not deciding to play it, just playing it and holding up the Atarka's Command instead, but we shall see from there. So he's going to put it to the bottom. He doesn't want that card. Zergo back to his hand, untap. Now we get to see the train of Siege Rhinos arriving from the deck. On the right, we have double Siege Rhino already in hand. Different artworks, which is a bit painful to see.
Oh, is that what that other card is?
Yeah, that seems to be it seems to be the chrome. Yeah, the Clash Pack Siege Rhino. Gonna serve him for 3. Yuri will be down to 9. Follow up Siege Rhino, put Yuri to 6. Victor all the way back up to a safe total of 13. Well, as safe as you can be against the green red landfall deck.
Interestingly, I think Victor here is trying to work out which he'd rather keep up. If he'd rather play the Rhino or keep up the Abzan Charm.
Well, he's going to serve him for 3 anyway. I think you just play a Siege Rhino here.
Yeah.
And we see the Siege Rhino. Siege Rhino number 1 of 2 already in hand. Victor 13. Yuri down to 6. And really under pressure this time.
Yeah.
So draw for the turn. That's a roast. It's not a bad draw, but unfortunately won't help. Well, it's a really tight one this one, because unfortunately he still dies to the Siege Rhino in hand, but Yuri doesn't know about that. And Zergo is not able to block.
No. This is very true. Zergo is not able to block creatures with power 2 or more.
So these chip shots that the Victor's been able to put in have been very powerful, so we're going to roast the Siege Rhino. Let's now see if Yuri passes back across or plays the Zergo. I think he has to play the Zergo at this point just to get something going. It's an interesting choice for Yuri. Obviously, we have the benefit of knowing that he is actually just dead to the Siege Rhino that's in Victor's hand. Because even though the attacker's command prevents the life gain, it doesn't prevent the damage. So we're going to see a land being played. Wooded Foothills. See the attack for 3. Victor's going to send in the Warden. Yuri down to 3. Show him a Siege Rhino. And we'll be on to game number 3. Victor able to level up at 1 game apiece, and Yuri picks up his cards very quickly, realising that, yep, you got me. Double Siege Rhino. Turns out Siege Rhino is still a very, very good card. It seems like the players should be reasonably happy with their hand, that they should be able to keep reasonably quickly and be on to the next game very soon. Most players, once they're happy with their sideboard plans, unless they have something specific that they've seen, don't normally spend too much time going back to their sideboard. They're normally happy with what they can do with what they've got in hand already. Quick shuffle up. Game number 3 of this semi-final between Yuri and Victor.
Sure. So John's just going to go double check to see how our other semi-finalists are getting on. For those who are interested, it's Dominic, Harvey, who was the winner of one of the Pro Tour invites yesterday, and he's playing against Wong, who has made a tough fight. He had to play his final round, and unfortunately his opponent missed lethal on turn 2, so sorry, in game 2, which meant that Quo was able to untap and win that game, followed by swiftly winning game 3.
So the currently 0-0 at the moment. We have a Tasiga facing down a Warden, and looks like Quo was just about to resolve a Siege Rhino. 13-12 the life total, so very, very close at that point. Players not on a lot of lands. It was a very quick Tasiga for Dominic as well.
He's on Jeskai Black, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe this is a more dragons orientated version.
From what I saw earlier, I believe he has a few more additional things. Not too many more, but something slightly different. And that game's 0-0 at the moment. Hopefully we will bring you coverage of that once we're finished in this final game of this match between Yuri and Victor. Yuri back on the play, having a quick look at his hand. A couple of fetch lands there, so if he's able to lead off on a side leopard, he's going to be in a very good position. He's going to Bloodstain Mire into a Monastery Swift Spear. A very good start for Yuri. Victor down to 19. We see a fantastic draw there. Now we just need to see if he can cast it on turn 1. He is able to. He has the turn 1 Warden of the First Tree. A nice draw off the top there for Victor. Yuri, we can hear in the background asking his opponent to please stop playing good cards. Where Yuri gets to play commons, Victor is playing rares. Well, Yuri gets to play commons and uncommons, and well, Victor gets to play mythics and rares in Siege Rhino and Warden of the First Tree and Anafenza. But Yuri's on the play, and that's a really important part. And we'll see what Yuri can do from there. He draws for the turn. We know he's got another land in hand, so see if he has another place he can be. Now, being on the play much more important than being on draw. And we see Abbot of Kerrol keep in hand. We see a roast. He could just roast away this Warden and attack for 2. And then use it next turn. Yeah, so roast your Warden. Get that out of here. Attack you down to 16. Your go, sir. With a fetch land ready to fetch up the other part. With a Tarka's command in hand as well. We see an Anafenza off the top. Now, this is the part. This is one of the small problems with the Abzan aggro deck. It does have a lot of draws where it has a tap land on turn 2. Whereas, say, a green-white aggro deck is likely has something to do on turn 2. We see a Abbot of Kerrol keep. We see, unfortunately, a Tarka's command is the card revealed. But attack for 1. We can see the Anafenza lined up already in hand. That's going to get exiled. Tarka's command hits the bin. So we're going to draw for the turn. We see a Silk Wrap the draw, but whether we just go for the Anafenza here, get that into play.
I think he has to just go for the Anafenza. Anafenza represents more blocks, sort of, more. It can block Swift Spear, really profitably. It can block Abbott rather profitably. You know, it
A roast here would be fantastic for Yuri. We see a side leopard. Now we could see Yuri go with the... Oh, he's going to go with the Abbott. So an
like
interesting
this.
choice there. And a team of Battle Rage. Is not
don't like it so much anymore.
No, Yuri not having the luck of the roll of the dice here. The other option he had was to play the Den Protector and get back the roast in the following turn, hopefully hitting a land drop. That was another option that Yuri had. He's going to play the side leopard, get it into play, get some creatures into play, and then pass the turn back to Victor. See a duress the draw there for Victor, a nice timely draw. See if you can see what he can set up. We can see at least a Silk Wrap in hand, which is obviously useful to play alongside this duress. We do see another copy of Anafenza.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's got a fourth land, so he can't start making Siege Rhinos.
And there is 2 Siege Rhinos in hand.
And there are 2 Siege Rhinos again. So, I think...
Oh no, he does have the
he does
fourth
have
land.
the fourth land.
Now he has a decision to make. Does he go for the Siege Rhinos?
I think I'm from Victor. I quite like duress into Silk Wrap. You know, you've still got this Anafenza. You're probably not dead next turn if you duress now. But at the same time, I can also see him just playing Rhino.
And trying to close the game out quickly.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things also with the with Yuri's line of play is because he knows that there's no Drown in Sorrow in the format anymore, he can just unload his hand onto the table with the creatures. We see Siege Rhino 1 of 2. We know there's a second one. Yuri's going to be maybe a bit disappointed when the second one appears.
Yep.
So Yuri untaps. 15 to 17. We see Titan Strength the draw for the turn. Nice draw there. Able to start training with these Siege Runners, maybe draw into something more for next turn, or whether he holds on to that and tries to assemble the combo pieces as well. We've already seen him go through a team of Battle Rage. Maybe he holds up Atarka's command for the next turn, but he's going to go in with everything.
Yeah, I quite like this attack. It's
He now
basically
has
sort of saying, you know, would you like to block? Would you like to risk dying?
So we're going to see Siege Rhino blocking the Abbot. We're probably going to see Atarka's command +1/+1, Titan Strength my guy, and do a lot of damage this turn. Even through another Siege Rhino, this is a lot of damage. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage at least, and removing your Siege Rhino and your Anafenza from the game. Believing you with no blockers. Now we know there's a follow-up Siege Rhino, but I think we have to... And Yuri has a Den Protector as well. So, blocks have been made. Now how does Yuri want to proceed?
Yuri can actually hit for 15 here.
So we're going to Titan Strength to scry 1. Does Yuri want to keep that one? No, he does not. Top card becomes the bottom card.
Yeah, and Atarka's command for 3 damage, pump guys. I think it's an actual attack for 15. I might have added it up wrong.
So we have 3 damage from the Atarka's command. We have 2 from the Scythe Leopard, puts it to 5. We're going to do 9 points of damage.
Or 12, it might have been 12 total.
Well,
Sorry.
we've got a lot
15.
because we have also the... Well, you've got the Swift Spear with 1, the Scythe Leopard with 1. You have Atarka's command, which is 1, 2, 3. You have the Atarka's command doing 3, and then you have 3. It's 11 points of damage.
11. Yeah.
That's 11 points of damage and trades off with all these creatures. Gets rid of... Get
12.
that Siege... 12 points of damage. Get that Siege Rhino out of here. And Yuri, well, you're not going to like what your opponent plays next. But he also draws a duress. He draws a Lanoir Wastes, which means he can duress into this Siege Rhino and
But
see
he does
what
go to
Yuri's like.
4 doing so.
Although this duress means that he's not going to be too happy with what he sees. But 4 and 5 are almost the same number against this, the green-red landfall deck.
It'll be 7
Well,
he'll go to.
Yeah, you go to 7 eventually with the Siege
7
Rhino,
or
but the crucial number is 3, because that's the Atarka's command range. I think Victor might just have to bite the bullet and go, right, let's duress you, see what you have. Thoughtseize, that would be really powerful right now. Take your Den Protector, but duress you, see what you've got, and then play the Siege Rhino. So we're going to see this. Oh, we're going to see Silk Wrap into Anafenza.
Ooh, wow.
Now this is for the opening Yuri needs. Draws for the turn. What's he found? He's found a land. What's a good start?
Yep.
This could be very interesting. So we're going to play this land, trigger the landfall, have a quick check. And we could be in a position where we're in game 1 where a Atarka's command could be really good for Yuri, but he's got to find something soon. How does he want to proceed with this one? No, he's just going to pass the turn. Wow. That's very brave. Rather than playing the Den Protector, we're going to see the rest target you, Yuri. Show you this Den Protector. Maybe he's hoping to set up for the 5 land so he can protect it. But his opponent doesn't have a lot of hands in that, and he's just going to see this slamming of this Siege Rhino. In for 4 with the Anafenza, down to 11. We're going to see a Siege Rhino follow-up. Go to 7, down to 8. Pass the turn back to you, Yuri. What can you do? It's a land, so we can Den Protector now. But unfortunately, that Siege Rhino going to do a lot of damage.
Siege Rhino is pretty big, man.
He gets a turn of blocking with the Side Leopard.
Yep.
And Yuri and Victor has to be very, very careful how he treads this turn. But if he fires up the
I think you
Shambling Vent, he
you fire
have
the
to
Shambling
force the
Vent.
block. This chump blocking. But we have to see if Victor sees the line. So if he mans up his vent, it means that the Rhino gets through. Does 5, 6 and 7 would be lethal. So Yuri has to now block because he's dropped down to 7 life. So Victor, what is your line of play this turn? You have land. You have at least 1 land in hand. So play this land, crack down to 6. Obviously probably going to fetch up his Smouldering Marsh, get a painless black mana into play alongside the Shambling Vent. The Shambling Vent has certainly proved its worth today.
Yeah, really big card that Tom and I were discussing earlier. It's incredibly powerful. You know, it allows these sorts of decks to just have that little bit of reach that they need. And I think if you're attacking here with the Shambling Vent, you're putting the count on it from the Anafenza. Yeah, there we go. So he's
means
going
it
to
can't trade, and it also can't be traded with the Den Protector. And
Yep.
maybe this is slightly punishing to Yuri that he didn't play the Den Protector the previous turn and wanted to wait for the 5 mana rather than just going, I've got to try and get something going, because he could be lethaling his opponent now. And he could have put his opponent, if he Titan Strengths, in a position where the Shambling Vent can't actually be activated, because he's now at 6 and he would be at 1 life. But he would be at 0 if it was the other way around, but because he can get back the Titan Strength is man and attack for lethal, but Victor might be able to drag his way out of this one.
If so, it's an incredibly well fought game 3. Incredibly close.
So Yuri just having a look at what his options are. I think they're a little bit narrow at the moment, and I'm not sure how he sees his way out of this one. Shambling Vent, a very good starting point for the Abzan decks. This is why the Abzan decks have gone away from the consistency a little bit and gone for the raw power, because they can play Siege Rhino, but sometimes, as we saw, the lands all come into play tapped, especially with Shambling Vent and the Sandstep Citadel if they choose to play it.
Yeah, Victor are electing to actually play 0 copies of Sam Sepsis.
And go for the 4 Shambling Vents instead. Which is interesting. It's a Abzan player by Abzan player choice. Some still run the Sandstep Citadel just to get the extra colours. Yuri, he's really in the tank here. I think he's realising he's trying to show his realisation that I don't think he has a way out of this game. So he's going to block. He's going to activate his Den Protector. He does have an out though. He does have an... Oh no, he doesn't, because of the Atarka's command into Atarka's command doesn't work. If he didn't have the Shambling Vent, Atarka's command into Atarka's command works. But we shall see. Yuri going all the way down to 2.
3, right?
It's 3.
He was on
yeah, he was on 7.
Oh no, he was
on 6 because he had to crack a fetch land, which is why the attack was lethal. And Victor all the way up to 9. Just pushing himself slightly out of range of Atarka's command. And maybe a few missteps from Yuri in game 2 and game 3 have maybe cost him, like, instead of always dashing the Zergo rather than playing the Zergo and holding up for the combo turn, and trying to Atarka's command the Rhino, and obviously in this one choosing to play the Den Protector a turn late. Maybe it's starting to come back and bite him slightly.
No, so yeah, Yuri apparently is on 3. So he was on 8 before the fetch.
She'll blame the man in charge of the iPad with the life totals today sat down by the table. So, I think, like people are saying on chat, I think the roast might be the choice, and then tap the top of your deck and see what you find.
He can't take roast. Abbott. They've all been exiled to.
No, but he can take the roast and hopefully hit an Abbott.
Oh right, sure.
And draw an Abbott for the turn. So, all creatures still in play. No follow-up siege on it just to end the game. We might soon have our first finalist. So Yuri gets to untap, draw for the turn. What do we find? It was a Zergo. He's going to play the Zergo. He's going to attack for 2. A show of defiance. And he's going to extend the hand. Victor Vidal marches on to the final 2 games to 1, defeating Yuri in a very, very close game. So what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly change over the cameras so we can bring you the remaining coverage of the other semi-final between Dominic and Quo. Welcome back. Very quick camera change. Hopefully this has worked. We're trying out a brand new system today and it's actually worked pretty well so far. We're just going to do a quick preview, check that the cameras are working, and we're going to send it on down to our backup match, the other semi-final between Dominic and Quo. And we see Quo up a game currently against Jeskai.
Yep.
Just going to go sort the camera out once more, make sure we can see everything that's in play.
Yep.
Quo not able to hit his lands and not doing much at the same time.
Obviously the names of the decks are incorrect. It should be Dominic on the left, who is playing Jeskai, Dark Jeskai, which I think he is running some more dragons than most builds, but I might be wrong. But either way, it's some form of Dark Jeskai, not the... There we go. So we can see a Silk Wrap has actually been used to take care of a Jace. So an end step, Tarkus command, Jeskai command. Sorry, Ojitai's command. It's going to be doing this.
Right now, and we're going to see a very nice play. We're going to negate that Dracomo's command, and we're going to see the first of the 5/5 dragons. As long as he remembers the trigger. So
There we go, just updating it.
yeah, so we can see Massacre as well as the follow-up to the dragon. So a very good draw here from Dominic, able to push himself ahead with that negate as well. And we see a land drawn off the top there by Quo, finally finding his pace of play. And we're going to see Den Protector from Quo and a pass of the turn and starting to make dragons. No, we're going to go for a fight. We're going to see a crackling doom in response. That hand, that grip of Dom is fallen. Well, Quo's seen enough. He's moving on to the next game. Shows him the Den Protector as you are wont to do. And on to game number 3. players onto the sideboard. We shall see if we can locate their sideboards. We have them, in fact we have them here. So on Dom's side of the table we have a Dragonlord Silumgar, we have an Obnixilus Reignited, a Painful Truths, a Duress, a 2 Disdainful Stroke, a Dispel, 2 Exert Influence, 1 Radiant Flame, an Nourishing Cleric, a Fellow Dark Hub, an Ultimate Price, a Surge of Righteousness, and 1 Negate. Now we've already seen the Negate come in. I'm fairly sure the Obnixilus has probably come in. It's that sort of game where Obnixilus can be very powerful. Same with Dragonlord Silumgar, although it depends if he wants to play around the Abzan Charm Spion in the deck, and also the Disdainful Strokes and the Painful Truth, just trying to grind with Quo and see if he can pull himself ahead from there.
In Quo's sideboard, he has 1 Virulent Plague, 2 Feed the Clan, 1 Gaia's Revenge, 1 Mastery of the Unseen, 1 Obnixilus, 1 Self-Inflicted Wounds, 2 Silk Wrap, 1 Sorin, 2 Tragic Arrogance, 2 Transgress the Mind, and 1 Wingmate Rock. So we're probably going to be seeing the Wingmate Rock. Obviously, we saw one of the Silk Wraps, so probably the 2 Silk Wraps, and I'm not sure what else really from this sideboard. Maybe the Mastery of the Unseen. That seems like quite a strong card in this match.
Now we've seen some of the cards that Dominic has in. He could be bringing in Transgress the Might as well. Depends on what he saw in Game 1 and Game 2 as to whether he wants to bring in that discard effect. If there's expensive spells in Dominic's hand that he's worried about playing against, he'll probably want to bring that in. But we saw from that hand that Quo was just never able to actually get anything going on board. And that's one of the things that he needs to be doing. He just needs to be playing spells, playing creatures, and attacking from there.
Unfortunately so, yeah.
So, game number 3. See if Quo can defeat his opponent and make it into the final where an Abzan Mirror would await, or whether Dominic is able to battle his way past past Quo again to battle Victor Vidal in the final. So, see Disdainful Stroke, Jace, Dragonlord Silumgar, Murderous Cut, and 2 lands. That is an interesting hand.
I think that's a key.
Jace is powerful enough, I think you are correct, and especially with 2 of them we see looks like Mastery of the Unseen. That is good against this Jeskai deck. They can't really interact with it, and it's a way of getting some advantage. We'll see Plains lead off from Quo. Bloodstained Mire the draw for the first turn. Good draw step there. It's a land, he needs to hit them, especially if he's going to make his way all the way up to Dragonlord Silumgar. Past the turn, draw, we see Anafenza the Foremost. We're going to see a cracking of the Wooded Foothills, probably to fetch up a forest, and we could see Mastery of the Unseen playing, but we see a forest, like Mastery now, get it into play and then cast the Anafenza.
Yep. And the thing about Mastery as well is, he doesn't actually then need to commit anything else. Dominic will have to expend so much to try and deal with the Mastery, that by the time it's dealt with, Quo's just got a full grip almost.
Yeah, we shall see. I certainly like Mastery of the Unseen against the Jeskai decks. Just gives you a different element of attack that you can cast into the Ojutai's command.
Exactly. And, you know, all you need to do really is just remove their threats and
well,
win with the Mastery.
We know that Abzan's good at that.
Yep.
You don't play Abzan because you want to have a nice fair game where you don't really interact with your opponent's creature. You want to do it because you want to beat them fast and also kill their threats as well. So we see Smoldering Marsh the fetch for Dominic. We're probably going to see a landings play and a dig through time. Probably not the best draw he wanted to see, but it's a draw that he had nonetheless. He has multiple lands in hand. He just has to decide how he wants to sequence them now. So we start with the Bloodstained Mire,
Yeah,
and then
I
we'll
think
see
the
the first
Bloodstained
appearance
Mire
of
to
Jace.
go get a mountain.
Mountain into play. Pass the turn back to Quo. Quo draws for the turn. We see a Warden of the First Tree. Now if he had something to pair with that, it's going to be very good. Unfortunately, he does have black mana in his with the Llanowar Waste that looks like it's lurking at the back of his hand. Obviously deciding that it looks like that anyway. So he's going to play the Warden. And then he's going to pump it straight to a 3-3. Try and get out of range of Dominic doing anything to it. We see Ojutai's command the draw there now. Quo has one more turn before Ojutai's command comes online.
Yeah.
And then that's when Mastery becomes really good, and we see
Exactly.
drawing of the Crackling Doom. Discard the land. Discard a.
Not
He
the
looks like
land.
he's discarded
Discard the
Jace.
second
No, don't
Jace.
discard the land. They'll probably get rid of that Jace. Although he maybe has to worry that Quo might just remove the Jace, but No, we'll get rid of the Jace, play a land, and we will soon, I imagine, be saying go. Back to you, Quo. How do you want to proceed from there? So untap, draw for the turn. That is, we've got Orlanoir Wastes, that's a very good draw. So in for 3. Dominic down to 15. And now we've got to decide if Quo, he's going to pass the turn back. So in the end step, we're probably going to see a Crackling Doom, make the most of his mana, be efficient, or if he wants to go fetch a dual land, and that'll be the interesting thing. Does Dominic take the opportunity to get a dual land? No, it looks like he's going after the basic.
Yeah, I think you want to here, just because you know you want to sort of hit to that point where you are, you know, getting your.
Now there's an interesting line that Quo has here is when he taps out for the, if he decides to go for it, whether he just murderous cuts the Jace in response, which I quite like. Because he's seen him discard a Jace, so he's got to imagine there might not be another Jace in hand, because if you have a Jace in play, it's normally the first thing you discard. So we see Crackling Doom. He's going to decide, no, he doesn't, so he's going to take 2, sacrifice the permanent, but does he still want to use the Murderous Cat now? And it seems like a good as place as any to do it. Yeah, he's going to Murderous Cat now, get rid of the Jace, stop your opponent, and at the moment Dominic doesn't have another land in hand. So Mastery of the Unseen can start to take over the game. We have a draw step. We have Mantis Rider. Well, we can cast that one. That's a good one to cast. Quo down to 13. That's a fantastic top deck there. We shall see. We untap. That's a Den Protector, the draw step. Now, he has an Abzan Charm in hand. I think you've seen your opponent miss a land drop. Fire it off, get rid of this Mantis Rider, and proceed accordingly from there with a Mastery of the Unseen. I don't think you want to take any more damage from this.
No.
So he's just going to get rid of it now.
Yep, Quo's on 12 though.
His opponent is missing land drops now. We see Negate. Oh, that's not doing anything right now, and Quo can just start activating Mastery of the Unseen. Draw, that's our Wingmate Rock. Can't cast that one. Seems also have... He's just about to turn back. Yep, so we're now going to be on the Mastery plan. We see Prairie Stream, that's a good draw, but it means he can get his Jace back, obviously. We're going to see Mastery of the Unseen activated. Have a quick look. Tap our mana. Draw for the turn. We find another Wingmate Rock. In for 2. Dominic down to 12. But that land off the top was a really important draw there for Dominic, because he's now able to cast his Oversized Command for value.
Yeah, he can draw a card, get back his Jace. Next turn, flip his Jace.
Right. We see another land drawn as well. So we're going to untap. Draw for the turn. Another land. We're working our way towards Dragonlord Silumgar now. So, Quo unfortunately missing his 5th land drop, not able to start working from there. So, we'll probably start with the Jace activation. Always a good place to start. The powerful Merfolk Looter effectively is referred to, turning into the powerful Telepath Unbound. He's going to draw a Dig Through Time. Probably end up discarding one of those Dig Through Times. Probably doesn't want 2 in hand. It's a little bit clunky to play, and probably needs his land drops to be able to carry on casting his spells. And obviously Jace able to flip and Telepath Unbound, give one of his creatures -2, -0, and work towards the Dragonlord Silumgar. They should be on. So we can see Jace transform into the Telepath Unbound, target the 2/2, Mystic Monastery into play, and Dragonlord Silumgar could be down next time, and Quo could be under a lot of pressure to deal with these 2 spells, and especially Dragonlord Silumgar. So we're going to draw for the turn. Does he finds our land? Now that's really important, because it means if Quo goes for the tap out for my Dragonlord, I can then make my Den Protector and then start getting back the Abzan Charms as well. So we're going to attack for... Well, we're going to go to combat. We're going to attack for 2. Jace drops down... Is it attacking Jace?
Yep.
Jace down to 4. And we're going to crack this land. No, does he go for the Wingmate Rock?
I think so. The reason being that he... You know, he's got 2 Manifestants right now. And Dominic doesn't really have anything. I mean, he doesn't know whether or not Dominic has any countless magic, but he's got to try. He's got 2 Wingmates, so
He's just going to crack his land and pass the turn.
Oh, okay. I like that play as well. Fire off a dig.
Make the most of the mana. Just got to be efficient with this Jeskai deck. If you can cast dig 3 times and your opponent's not doing anything, might as well make the most of it, especially with Dragon Lord Silumgar in hand. And this hand that Dominic kept maybe looked a bit risky on the surface, but has developed into quite the hand, for sure.
Fortunately, that dig was 5 land, Jace, and Mantis Rider. Not the best, but not the worst.
He's going to have a quick look, decide what he wants to take. Can't take them all, so you might as well take the 2 you can do. Yes, they are manifests. One of the things I will be learning for the GP is find some manifest tokens and take your own with you.
Yes.
You don't want to be relying on someone else to have manifest tokens, especially when you're playing a deck which has both morphs and manifest.
Indeed.
So he looks like he's going to take the Jace and the
gonna
Mantis
take
Rider.
Yeah.
He's already taking the Mantis Rider. He's definitely going to take the Jace just as a backup. No, he's going to have another think. I want to take the land. Now he's going to take the Jace. He's decided that Jace is the correct place to go. He already has the land for the Dragon Lord. He's going to untap. But now it means that Quo does get to resolve his Den Protector. And we're going to see land. Crack this land. Fetch up one of his dual lands, possibly the Smouldering Marsh. And we shall soon be seeing Dragon Lord Silumgar. Now, one of the interesting things with that dig through time was that he decided to didn't take an untapped land, because now he's having to shuffle 5 lands that were at the bottom of his deck back into his deck. Whereas if he doesn't take the Jace because he's got one in play, he can then fetch up. He can then use that untapped land and not have to put 4 lands back into his deck and have a chance of drawing them. Although his hand is full at the moment.
If I'm Dominic, I really like just making 2 Mantis Riders here.
Yeah, it was a good draw, that Mantis Rider off the top. So that's 3 mana. We see Disdainful Stroke as well. He's going to hold up the Disdainful Stroke, and Mantis Rider is pretty good against these manifests. Targets one of them, pass the turn back. He's going to activate Mastery of the Unseen. Have a quick look at what it is. Put it into play. We're just going to line them up in the correct order that they've come into play. So we just push the one out of the way that has been effectively jaced, as you would call it, and Mastery of the Unseen been pushed right underneath a piece of paper, out of the way of anyone seeing it. It does still exist. With a Shambling Vent. See 1, 2 mana being played, and we're going to see a Transgress the Mind. Now that is a huge draw if it resolves. But he has negated already. Be interesting to see if he lets it resolve. I think you negate this one with Dragon Lord Silumgar in hand. You don't want to risk losing that. That is your trump card for this match. Although Quo's at 8, he could just die to a couple of Mantis Rider hits.
Exactly, yeah. So I think
I'm going to see a Den Protector probably cast face down. No, he's going to be casting Anafenza before. No, he's going to flip an Anafenza, gain 3 life. Mastery of the Unseen. When target permanent is turned face up, you gain life. You gain 1 life for each creature you control. One of the really nice things, he's going to murderous cut one of the morphs. He's going to cut a Shambling Vent. And one of the interesting things about playing with Mastery of the Unseen is when you have a Hangerback Walker in the deck.
Oh, hang on. Okay, so let's he pointed. There was a bit of confusion at which one he pointed at.
But it's all been cleared up. Looks like Anafenza's going to the bin. And one of the very interesting things that people don't realize, and so I've played many games with Mastery of the Unseen, love the card a lot, is when you can fool your opponent into things where you tap out completely for your Mastery of the Unseen with a Hangerback Walker in play. It's the savagest of blowouts with the life gain. Makes them fully tap out. Oh, burn you for lethal. No, I'll just gain some more life.
Yeah.
Get back my Deathmiss Raptors. So, Quo slightly falling behind to these double Mantis Riders, not able to attack. He's going to pass the turn back. Mantis Rider. What is your draw step? Is another Smouldering Marsh. But he's got Disdainful Stroke still in hand. And a Crackling Doom in the graveyard. This is 2 turns. We might just go for the Mantis Rider and say go again, because his Quo has to deal with them. So he's going to attack with the Mantis Rider. Interesting whether he goes for the Dragon Lord Silumgar. So he goes for Dragon Lord Silumgar, which is the same clock. Doesn't change the clock at all. Deciding what mana he wants to tap. Does cost 6. As they would say, Demir Dragon Lord. He's going to have a look. He's going to uptick Jace, target the other one. And this Dragon Lord, which was in his opening hand, has finally made an appearance as we see a land off the top of the quote. So we're going to see a land. Now, this could be the turn where he could go for the Wingmate Rock. So he's going to attack for 2. Yeah, he's going for the Wingmate Rock here. And it's going to do no damage, so it's a reasonably free block. But I think Dominic can smell what's happening here.
Yeah. And Dominic is able to flash back the Crackling Doom, take out one of the birds, play a second Mantis Rider and swing for the kill.
No. Dominic's just going to have a quick think about how he wants to do this. Throw some stuff in. He could just put the Morph in the way, the Manifest in the way. He could put Quo's own Manifest in the way. And we see a follow-up Wingmate Rock. He takes no damage though, because it was targeted by Jace. Gonna see a Wingmate Rock. Gonna trigger the raid, make the bird, make a 3/4 flying token, Wingman Rock as it's more affectionately referred to. Untap. See a land off the top. And Dominic has played this game very, very well to put himself in this position, where he's now able to be on the aggressive, on the offensive, playing with the Mantis Riders. Now, one of the very interesting things with Quo's deck is he's left in a lot of his low to the ground threats. There's an interesting school of thought that some people have been discussing, is that you take out all of your low down threats, and you keep in your more expensive threats. So your if you're playing green white, for example, Death Miss Raptor, Den Protector, your Wingmate Rocks, your Gideons, and instead you board into more of a control package with Surge of Righteousness, more Silk Wrap, Stasis Snares, counter spells, and stuff like that. And obviously the Quo's not able to quite do that, but it is another way of doing it. He's going to show him this other Mantis Rider. And Quo is going to extend the hand to Dominic Harvey. Jeskai Black marches on to meet another Abzan aggro deck, and this has been certainly one hell of a weekend for Dominic so far. Yep. Qualifying for the Pro Tour yesterday, and possibly qualifying for the next regional Pro Tour qualifier today. But we shall soon see. We shall bring it back to the booth. John Partridge, Shea Holland. That concludes the semi-final. We're going to have a quick turnaround to the final. It is 20-9, and I really need to soon go and get my train home and get up in the morning. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go change the cameras over, and we'll soon have Dominic on camera versus Victor Vidal in his Abzan aggro deck. Join us again shortly.